Welcome back to another YouTube video, and today we're going to be talking about local SEO and essentially how to triple your local SEO traffic to drive more sales, to drive more clicks, and also conversions on your website. Now, if you guys do want a free 15-minute growth strategy call for your website, make sure to check out categorizing.com. The link will be in the description. But without any further ado, let's get into it. So, the website that we are looking at is theaccountancy.co.uk. They are a online accountancy firm, but they rank for a lot of local SEO keywords. So if we actually take a look at some of the keywords that they are ranking for, you'll very quickly see that they have got a few different styles of keywords. So they have got a lot of blog content that they're ranking for. They also have location-based keywords, and they also have service-based keywords as well. And essentially what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting these three different types of keywords into buckets for our website. So for example, we would essentially, for a visualization, what this would look like is if we have B1, excuse the bad drawing, I know it's not the best, and then if we have B2, and then also I'll change the color for B3 as well. And then we would also have B3, bucket 3. Now, what this would essentially look like is anything that is red, this would be like anything location based. So areas that you might serve. So for example, if you are an accountancy firm, or if you're a law firm, let's say, and you are based in London, yes, there might be a lot of searches for accountants London, but think of all the other surrounding towns in and around London as well that you can also cover. So one thing I will do is I'll go into a little bit more detail as to how you should be planning out your areas that you serve. So the prompt that I'm using here is give me a list of 20 towns and suburbs around London that I should have dedicated pages for. I've not specified a niche, nothing like that, because this is very universal. You can swap out London for Miami, or you can swap out the 20 for 30 or 40, however many you essentially want. And this will essentially go and do its thing. Now, if we were to actually search, for example, on Google, accountants, Wimbledon, as you can see here, this is a separate SERP, but and then if we were to search, for example, accountants, and let's just go back to ChatGPT. If we were to search accountants in Twickenham or Twickenham, you can very quickly see that there are very different websites that are essentially ranking for this. And again, it's the same that goes for like accountants Miami. If we were to search, for example, a suburb, so if we were to do, let's say, North Miami, as you can see here, the actual accountancy firms are very different to just Miami. So we have salver.com, we have kimmarkcpa.com, and if we were to just look at just Miami, very different results. So one thing to bear in mind when you are doing local, try and get a variety of different areas that you actually serve. So the next thing that we would essentially be doing here is we'll essentially copy this into our Google Sheet. So 1 second. So once we essentially have this in a table format, what we would essentially want to do is get all of the locations. We can get rid of everything else here. And essentially what we would then want to do is enter our service. So for example, if we are a law firm, or let's say, lawyers, or law firm in, and then we can just drag this all the way down to the bottom. Now, you can also use a command here. So let me just zoom in on this. If we do equals concatenate, and then you can just do Control or Command click depending on if you're on Mac or PC, and then you can just close this off, and then you just have law firm in Richmond, law firm in Greenwich, law firm in so on and so forth. So then what we essentially want to do is copy this to our keywords sheet. Actually, if we Command X and then paste, and then if we do values only, so then, as you can see here, we've got law firm in Richmond, we've got the entire selection. I'm just going to pause the video for 1 second and clean up the sheet because my OCD is kicking off a little bit. Right, so I've just removed some of the lines in the cells because that was really annoying me, and I've set all the text to one font as well. It's just one of the things that I like to do. So once you essentially have these, I like to also group these. So for example, because these are location based, these are pretty high intent. So if we go back to our drawn, these are B1. So these are probably going to be like the hardest keywords to essentially rank for. But essentially what we're going to do is we're going to do like area served, and these are all B1. So we can also add a color as well to these. So these are probably going to be the hardest keywords. But again, the one thing you need to also bear in mind with these keywords is the fact that yes, they are the hardest, but they will also generate you the most amount of clicks, and also sales or clients if you're a law firm, whatever else. Then what we would essentially want to be doing is getting a list of essentially articles. Now, the website that we are also looking at is they are an accountancy firm. So what I will actually do is I'll find a website that is essentially more to do with law. So this, again, like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, it's universal. So it doesn't matter if you're a chiropractor or a law firm or whatever your niche is. I'm just trying to make this as universal as possible. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to essentially search for law firm in London. And we're going to essentially be presented by a few different law firms. These guys, I've done multiple videos on them before, but let's just take a look at and see what blog articles that they actually have. Now, a good way that you can actually find blog articles is if we do like Categorizing.com, right? This is just a made-up website. If you actually go to the content gap section here, you can essentially plug in all of your competitors, and this will give you a good recommendation of articles that you should essentially have on your website. So if I just plug in, let's say 2 or 3 different law firms, so I'll just plug these guys in as well. Make sure to just use the actual domain, not like a prefix or anything. And what this essentially does is it'll look at all of the competitors that you put in. You can actually put in more than 3 competitors. You can put in 5 or 6 or however many you want. And this will essentially tell you which articles that they have that you don't essentially have, right? So if we actually take a look here, you can do 3 intersections. So this will essentially say all 3 of these websites have this article, or you can do less, or you can also do more. So for blog articles, we'll do 2 intersections, and we will see. So how? Let's take a look and see if there's any how or why related articles. Why? So you've got debanking, meaning dispute resolution solicitors. This isn't the second category type that we are looking for, so I'm going to actually show you guys a different way of getting blog articles as well. So what we're actually trying to do, if we refer back to this, bucket 2 is essentially service pages. So if we actually do S, so service pages are essentially like services that you essentially offer. Now, what a lot of these are is essentially services. So we can essentially just copy some of these into our Google Sheet. And if we actually do services, so debanking, and we'll do like an orange here. So you might actually, as a law firm or as a chiropractor or as an accountancy firm, you might actually serve, let's say, 10 different services. So if you're an accountancy firm, you might actually do, for example, payroll, you might do outsourced payroll, you might do tax returns, corporation returns, you might be a CPA accountant if you are in USA. In the UK, they call them chartered accountants. So essentially, this section here, this completely comes down to what services you actually provide. Let's say you're a solar panel company. Solar panel companies in the UK, they also install the battery packs that essentially power, like the solar panels on the roof go into the battery packs and they essentially charge up the batteries. So when it isn't sunny, your house still essentially uses the battery powered. So that is another service that you can do if you're a solar panel company. I'm just trying to think of as many services as I possibly can here. But for a law firm, what we'd essentially be doing is we would be looking at all of their services, right? So for example, here, they have got a lot. So family and divorce law would be one. So family law. Another one could be commercial law, immigration law, so on and so forth, right? You essentially, as the business owner, would know. Or if, say, for example, you're an SEO and you work with a business, this is the best time to essentially sit down with the business owner and go through the services that they actually provide, and also making certain you ask them questions like, okay, how much profit does immigration law earn you? Does it make you a lot of profit or does it not make you that much profit? Um, because one thing you will find is that a lot of businesses, they provide a lot of different services, but not every single service is as profitable. So, for example, if I was a solar panel company, solar panels might make me a lot of profit. However, battery packs might not make me that much profit. However, repairing a solar panel might make me a lot of profit. So again, you just need to have a sit down with the actual business owner at some point and essentially ask them all of these questions, because this is super important when it comes to building a successful SEO strategy. Now, that being said, we are then going to take a look at some blog articles as well. And that is essentially the third pillar to our section. So if we do here, and we'll do blogs. And essentially what we would want to be doing is, say for example, if we were to do these as green, let's just make these green. Now, if, say, for example, you have 6 services, you're going to want to essentially have supporting articles for each of those services. So, for example, if we were to focus just on the immigration, or the family law, right? You might want to do blog articles to do with family law, like how much does a, or how much is a, or how much does a divorce cost? Divorce cost. Who keeps the children after a divorce? So essentially, this is kind of goes back to the video that I done the other day about funneling your keywords, right? So these, anyone that's essentially searching this, they're very, very bottom of the funnel. They essentially know they want a law firm to work with, and they are like, right, okay, I need to hire someone. Somebody that's searching for a service, they can be shopping around. They might essentially look out for like 2 or 3 different law firms. So they might search for family law in London or Miami, for example. They might essentially fill out full contact forms. Again, you can convert a lot of these. A lot of them will essentially convert, but How much does a divorce cost, or who gets to keep the children after a divorce? These keywords I kind of know in the back of my head. They will be they're not fully looking for a divorce attorney or a divorce lawyer. They're kind of just like they want a little bit more information. So these blog articles, they're not going to essentially make your business hundreds of millions a month, but they're good for educational purposes. A really good way of finding blog articles is actually speaking to your sales staff, because your sales staff, or people essentially that answer the phone calls, they will get questions day in, day out, that you'll essentially be able to ask them and say like, hey, what's some commonly asked questions that we can turn into blog articles? Because if they're getting the actual questions on the phone calls, people will also be searching them on Google. So just bear that in mind when you are doing topical research and blog related articles. That's a really good position to start off with. And again, even if you guys don't have subscriptions for Ahrefs and SEMrush and stuff, that's a really good place to start with. It's a free strategy as well. So what I would be looking to do is essentially having as many supporting articles for all of your services as your blog sections, and again, just internally linking back up to your services, right? So, for example, if we were to essentially have, let's say, 15 articles all to do with family law, internally link them back up to your family law page, because somebody that is reading on how much does a divorce cost, they probably are in the market of hiring someone to help them out with family law. So just remember that when you are doing any form of internally linking and stuff. That's super important when it comes to local SEO as well, making certain that your supporting articles are linking back up to your services, or potentially even to your areas served as well. So that has been my video on local SEO and essentially helping you guys get more calls and more clicks through to your website. If you guys do have any questions, feel free to drop them down below. And as I mentioned at the start of the video, if you guys do want a free 15-minute growth strategy call for your website, make sure to check out categorizing.com. Thanks.